Welcome back. Welcome back to the BME Podcast, the best sports podcast in New Jersey. We are back live in person. This is going to be a jam-packed episode for y'all. Greg, Miles, how y'all doing today?
Doing good.
Doing great, bro. It's good to be in person again. It's been a while.
I'm definitely happy to be back in person, bro. Really great content that we have, but some of y'all don't realize it because it's not in person, and y'all be downplaying it because we be on StreamYard and stuff like that. But we got the content's always been there. We always been knowing what we were talking about. So we're gonna start off with this though. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching this, hit that like button, share it. As of late, the MVP for the NBA, the rankings have been changing. We've been talking about it in the chat. Luka, Wemby, SGA. Wemby comes out, makes his pitch. I should be the MVP. It really shouldn't be any debate. Based off of the NBA MVP ladder, Wemby now is number one on that ranking on the NBA.com over SGA. DraftKings, though, Bet365, FanDuel still has SGA number one. Wemby is number two now. Luka is three. Jokic and Jaylen Brown are 4 and 5. Should Luka be getting more love for MVP? And how are y'all feeling about Wemby's current pitch that he should be the MVP and there's no debate actually?
I mean, I know Luka came out and said, like, I don't know what I have to do. I've been playing so great, and it seems like I'm going down in the rankings a little bit. So I do think he should be a little higher. I feel like with the MVP, you kind of figure out who the MVP is early on, or at least the consensus. So, like, SGA really hasn't moved much, even if, his game is kind of, I don't want to say not watchable, but not many people like watching SGA play. So, and then season's about to end. You see a lot more guys being more vocal. Like Wemby's coming out, stating his claim to MVP. Luka's coming out. I'm sure Jaylen Brown has made a twitch about it. So it's interesting to see. As like Luka had a great stretch, like you would think that would do more for him to.
He's still in the middle of the great stretch. It's not even over yet.
Right. But for some reason, like people don't want to move off of who they've already crowned as the MVP, like SGA. There's nothing he could do that could make us put him second or put him third. Like if Joker was playing well and his team was the 2 seed, he'd be the consensus, and then they wouldn't even debate it. So it's funny. Like in the NFL, it goes week to week almost. Like a guy has a great game or 2 games, and all of a sudden, is Daniel Jones the MVP this year?
They were saying that.
They were saying that. So like, I don't get it in the NBA where I get it's a long season, but you can change your pick. You don't have to like stick to SGA just because you don't want to ruffle any feathers. Like you can say SGA is not the MVP. Like I don't want to say he's coasting, but like we've seen him play great like this for 3 years now. Luka's led the Lakers to what you guys are the 2 seed now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I feel like that should get a little more respect. Like he's doing it with a LeBron James on the team where a lot of people try to say they don't mesh, but like LeBron's kind of like
3 seed, my bad.
3 seed. Well, they'll be the 2 seed at some point. I figure they'll win a little more coming up. The Lakers, yeah.
And they're gonna catch San Antonio, who hasn't lost in like 3 weeks or whatever it is, like 22-2 or whatever it was over the last 24 games.
I hope so.
I mean, for me, this conversation is as simple as when you look at it, I have a problem with the fact that people have already kind of coordinated Wembanyama since he got to the NBA. So you can come out and make a plea for MVP and it immediately pays dividends and you see yourself climb up the rankings to number one simply because you asked for it, simply because you told people there's 2 sides of the court in the game and defense is a big part of it, as if we don't know that, as if people who watch basketball don't understand that defensive impact makes a difference in this conversation. He's not even close to the offensive player that guys like Shea, Luka, Jaylen Brown, have been, Jokic have been throughout the season, but we're just going to give him the award simply because he made a plea in a press conference, and when Embiid did it a few years ago, literally the exact same thing. We literally like people like laughed him out of the room. People laughed at him on Twitter and made a mockery of it. So I've always had an issue with it. I didn't like the way, like, even from when he was drafted and the conversation was around like, oh, I think he's the best draft pick, even better than LeBron. It was like things like that. I'm like, nah, I saw LeBron in 4K. You can't tell me otherwise. Like, I'm not like those Jordan truthers, but I saw it and I see Wembanyama. I see how special Wembanyama is, but it's not the same thing. It's not. Wembanyama is different. We never seen anything like it before, but it's you can't compare the two. And so I'm not gonna go off into a tangent about that. I'm just saying, like, based on the fact that we were having that conversation, the hype train was already out of control to begin with regarding Wembanyama. So I'm not surprised that he's able to sit down and make that plea, and then all of a sudden he shoots up to number 1 on the board. It makes no sense, right? Zero sense. He plays on a loaded basketball team. If Wembanyama misses games, they're going to win regardless. Obviously, they are their best with him, but he is like, that team has a wealth of riches at the guard position with Castle, with Harper, who they shouldn't even have gotten. Harper, who else they got? Fox, right?
Vassell, Keldon
Johnson, man, they're
Luke
loaded.
Cornett.
They're loaded at every position. They're loaded. So this idea that, like, you know, it's as simple as him asking, it just goes to show you that, like, when you're the golden boy in the NBA, when it's that time for you, like, you can do things like that. And some players never get to be the golden boy in the NBA. Some guys never get that privilege. I think Luka may have started that way, but I think we're well past the point where he's the golden boy. People now will kind of hang on to this narrative that he doesn't try or play any defense at all, or he's a turnstile. He has been in the past. He's actually playing some defense right now during this stretch too. And he's doing things that, like, he's putting up ungodly numbers offensively. It doesn't even make any sense. Like 40 points a game. He's scoring or assisting on like 60 points a game for the Lakers. It's absurd. He's doing Dallas stuff, but he may not have been this good in Dallas. Like, this is probably at the worst, it's the peak of what he was in Dallas. At the worst. Like, he's probably like just a tick above that, playing at that level, making these shots. So I don't know, man. I think Luka deserves more conversation. But you know what? The thing too is, like, I also wouldn't put him over Jaylen Brown either. Like, Jaylen Brown has a much stronger case. If you told me Jaylen Brown was going to win MVP this year, I would have no problem. I'd be fine. He, like, by definition, had to overcome a ton of adversity. There's still a great team, obviously, around him, even without Tatum, sure. But he lost his running mate, and no one thought they were going to do what they did. No one thought they'd stay afloat, and not just stay afloat, but being like the number 1 or 2 seed in the East for most of the year, being that top 3 spot, those top 3 spots. So for me, like, there's no reason why Jaylen Brown shouldn't be number 1, or certainly above Wembanyama. He has a stronger
especially
case.
If you're talking about, since Wemby, it's funny that you mentioned that because I just thought about it now. Wemby mentions, hey, both sides of the ball. Mm-hmm. When Jaylen Brown said it, because he's been saying all year, I play both sides of the ball. Yeah. Like you said on his Twitches, I play both sides of the ball. That's extremely hard. That's another level of stamina that most players do not do. Most superstars are not doing. So, obviously, Jaylen Brown isn't as beloved and as favored as Wemby. To your point, Wemby has already been coronated as the next face of the NBA. Jaylen Brown and what he's done, especially if we're talking about MVP, typically goes with the storylines and what's being talked about. Nobody had the Celtics being a top 2 seed this year without Tatum. Mm-hmm. You don't have Jaylen Brown in that team, and Tatum sits out for a year. That team is what we expected. They're a lottery team. If Jaylen Brown did not play this season, that's a lottery team. As much as Peyton Pritchard has played well, and Jordan Walsh, and Kata, and the rest of the crew, Derek White, that would be a lottery team. And he's 5th on MVP standings and odds based off of the gambling sites, and I've seen on the NBA he's 5 or 6. Jokic is above him, who again, narratives and whatnot, they've been kind of bad as of late, up and down. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's still top 4.
They miss Aaron Gordon, and Jokic is not making up the gap for Aaron Gordon's absence, or when he was out anyways. I'm sure he's back by now, but when he was out, they were missing him, and they were playing okay, like lukewarm basketball with Jokic on the floor. It wasn't like he was carrying them to like these crazy stretches where they'd win 5 in a row, 6 in a row, whatever it was. Now, early in the year, he was incredible. He was playing great. I think he's still hurt. I don't think he's 100% Jokic. I think he came back a little early, and he's playing through a bit of that knee situation that he had.
You think he came back because of the 65 games?
100% he did. Yeah, 100%. I think he cares about his money. He cares about horses and money, and I think he loves playing enough. But obviously, but I think it was about that too. But obviously, he's suffering for it, and so he's not playing at the level we're used to seeing him play at. But again, right? Like to your point, Tone, like there's too many guys that have a stronger case than Wembanyama for him to be high simply because he asked for it. But this is why also I don't take the MVP award seriously. I really don't. I don't take it seriously. I think there's people in the NBA offices who think that this is a good thing that people have these kind of conversations about it. And sure, I guess from an engagement standpoint online, it is cool that people debate it. That's great. But for me, I don't even debate it anymore. If I knew that if Wembanyama did exactly what he did, that's exactly what would happen. That he would shoot up to number 1 on the leaderboard, and he'd be the betting favorite to be MVP simply because he asked for it. When I'm watching Luka do stuff that like prime Kobe was doing, but also he's getting you 10 assists a night on top of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's insane. The shot creation for other people is crazy. So, and again, that he's the hot guy right now. If you want to stick with the guy who's been most consistent throughout the course of the year and been there, SGA's okay, fine. I got no problem. Like, I could debate you on SGA, but I'm not gonna argue. Right? I'm not gonna argue the way I am about Wembanyama. Like, Wembanyama is not there yet, right? He's not. And also, I think there's a level of like, look, you haven't had success in a postseason yet. You haven't won a playoff game yet, right? But you conduct yourself like somebody who has accomplished everything in this league already. Who's, you know what I mean? Like, you own the league, and it's great to have confidence. But where's the line? Because there's a lot of guys like, if LeBron had done this early in his career, I feel like people would have been tearing him apart. Now, obviously, it's the same thing, right? But I feel like it was harder for a lot of these guys back then. Kobe too. It wasn't easy for Kobe. People didn't love Kobe at first. We love him now. We didn't love him back then when he first started, right? And even when he had established himself as a good player, it was still a lot of like the doubt and people giving him a hard time. But Wembanyama has kind of bypassed all of that.
Well, I sent y'all the video. Y'all saw what Shump talked about it. Shump like, yo, ain't nobody going to step up to this man or say anything. To your point, I feel in past with the Brons, with the Kobes, when they would say things of that nature, if they went down that path, even when Bron mentioned in the press conference that he feels what he did in that finals in 2016, I believe, and he came out and said, I think that stamps me as the best player in the world, best player ever. It was pushback from other players, former players. Wemby says this, and I think it's probably known within the league amongst them. This is the next face. So I don't hear anybody saying anything bad about Wemby or speaking up to him, anything like that. We don't hear anybody talking trash to him, talking about I'm gonna smash your whole family like they did to Luka.
No, exactly. I think it's weird. I think there's like this weird tiptoeing around it. Like the NBA is trying to like put him on a pedestal, and they've already done that. I shouldn't say trying to. They've already done that. But I don't get it, guys. I mean, truly, I think he's obviously a special player, but I don't think that it's a lock and guarantee that he's the best player in the world for the next 5 years. Now, within the next 5 years, he may have moments where he is the best player in the world, but consistently the way LeBron has been for X amount of years throughout his prime, I don't think that's a lock. When you still have a Luka, you still have and then these young class coming in too, like the Banster and these guys. Like, obviously, Wembanyama should be, but shot selection is still questionable in my opinion. It isn't like we have to see how he handles playoff physicality. Right. Why are we coordinating this guy like he's handled playoff physicality? I have seen teams be physical with that guy, and it didn't go in his favor. He can be taken out of a game right now. He's not like just parking himself below the rim and just dunking the ball over and over again, and there's nothing you can do. That's not the way he plays the sport. He has so many things he has to learn as a player, right? On how to be more efficient, right? How to impact the game better offensively. Defensively, he's gonna do what he's doing. It's not right. It's special. When you're that height, you're the best help defender ever, probably, because whatever, you cover too much ground. But offensively, there's a lot for him to learn. So I don't like the early coordination, but I also think it like. When you dig deeper into that and you look into it, like there's more to it than like, hey, like Wembanyama is special and that's why we're doing it. No, there's something else going on because again, like to Tone's greater point and what we're talking about, like If Bron had done the same thing at that stage in his career, I don't think it would have been received well. But Kobe done the same thing. If Kobe had done that, it definitely would not have been received well. There are plenty of guys. You can go down the list, right? Maybe Jordan's only the guy who was the sweetheart from the beginning, right? Maybe. But I know there are plenty of fans who didn't like Jordan too because he was great, and it was normal to kind of hate on greatness. Now you may say, yeah, that's what I'm doing now, but he hasn't been that great. That great.
Hate on greatness. That hate came after there was some playoff success, after there were some titles.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. That like he hasn't even gotten to the playoffs to get that hate of like having a bad series or not showing up in the those primetime moments. So we'll see what happens this year. Like they've had a great season. They've got a great team. But yeah, it's different. Even OKC didn't succeed initially with that team.
No.
And Shea, I'm sure, got hate for it, but like, it's gonna come. It's gonna come at some point. The narrative's gonna shift.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's gonna be like the underdog talked about. Like, can he rise up to the occasion? And
can he lead this team when they actually have a full, pretty solid roster?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the other part about it too, right? What happened to when Bron came into the NBA? He had to lead a team that had like Eric Snow, Darius Miles, all these guys. Darius Miles talking about I'm better than you. He had to do all this nonsense in the inner workings of the team. He shut that down early, but he had to deal with it. Like he had to lead a team that was clearly inferior against, and clearly made an impact immediately. Like a 15-win increase on the first year, then get to 07 championship run. Like you're on a team that is loaded now, and we're talking about you for the MVP. What happened to the award? Isn't about who does the most with less. That's what I always thought it was. That's what I've always assumed it was. Because I watched LeBron do the most with less. So I've always made that assumption that like that is how you judge the award, right?
But even with Bron, even with Kobe, that obviously isn't the criteria because Bron should have had, respectfully, Bron should have more,
of course,
more MVPs.
The fatigue and all that stuff, right? Like because that's my thing with SGA. If I'm going to nitpick at SGA, you play on a team that did well in your absence. In your absence, they were still very good because they're loaded. Isaiah Joe, they got Jared McCain for literally like a pack of peanuts. They got him. They should have never pulled off that highway robbery. And then they have all these other really good players on the team.
Chet Holmgren. Yo, J-Dub ain't been
play. And they're still winning. Right. Even without their second best offensive player, they've still been killing. So then you want to tell me SGA is the MVP definitively when that's the team he plays on? So I don't get at what point is that a factor? The fact that you play for a great team that could do this without you. You see what I'm saying?
Do you think there's fatigue now with SGA? Like it's starting to set in a little bit?
Wembanyama is now over him. Like I don't know, man. I don't think it's fatigue. I think it's too early to have fatigue with SGA. I think it's more of a
they want to put Wemby there.
They want Wembanyama to be the face because they think it's going to save the NBA. You saw the salary cap went down instead of going up.
Yeah.
Where you said going up in the NFL went down for by $1 million or like they basically broke even. I think they think that if Wembanyama takes over as the face of the NBA, the clear-cut face, they're going to make more money because they're going to get global presence out of it. It's not so much about the U.S. what they do on U.S. soil. I think they've given up on the U.S. soil.
Like Ohtani.
Yes, they think that they can like awaken
replicate
a sleeping giant,
the
right?
Ohtani
with the fan bases in Europe and all that stuff. And all over the place, if Wembanyama is the face of the league, they think that that's going to take them to the next level.
It also goes along with...
They don't care about us.
Remember, it goes along with... They're talking about having a league over there in Europe. Having a league or a team over there, which would be wild to have a team for 82 games that people got to...
Yeah, you got to go over there. Go to Berlin.
I don't think it would be Berlin out of all places. It definitely...
Yeah, I'm just throwing things out.
Yeah, you don't got to go to the Middle East, so...
Hey, you mentioned too with Wemby, right? We've seen what teams like the Knicks, teams like the Pistons have been able to be physical with him, able to actually make him get off his game offensively. They won, I think, that Pistons game still because you had Stephon Castle giving a hard time to Cade Cunningham on the other end. Mm-hmm. So it's a pretty good, solid team there.
Castle's amazing. Stephon Castle, by the way. He's amazing.
So good.
He's not even talked about enough on that team, and he's incredible.
He should make one of the all defensive teams.
Oh, he will.
Stephon Castle for sure.
Hopefully he does.
For sure. And then Dylan Harper, if he just
shoots it, once he starts shooting that thing better, it's over. And it's gonna happen.
it's gonna be.
They got like an
curtains.
all-star, like a perennial all-star in him. And so now you're playing with those guys and making you should make your case. I got no problem with you being confident. But the fact that everyone's just falling for it.
For the okie doke.
Yeah, word like that bothers me. It was so annoying. It was so annoying.
Looking at the
my bad. I know how I sound about Wembanyama, but
you good. Nah, you
know who will say good. You're hating a lot.
Starting on the looking at the Eastern Conference, right? So we're going to talk about some of the teams going into this. Playoffs is around the corner. We got about 10 games left for most teams. Looking at the Eastern Conference, right? Which teams are most likely to blow it up based off of their playoff outcomes? So a team like the Cavs, do they keep that roster together if they don't make maybe the finals? The Knicks, y'all made the conference finals last year. If Mike Brown don't get them to the finals or at least the conference finals, is that team going to be looking different next year? Who comes to mind on the Eastern Conference where it's like, yo, they have the most pressure where if they don't perform, they could actually, that roster, the coaching staff could look very differently?
I mean, I'd say it's those two teams that you named. Those are the Cavs and the Knicks. Like, Cavs moved a young, I think, pretty good point guard in Darius Garland. Like, I feel like he's playing pretty good in LA right now. So you bring in a Harden who he's going to do the things that DG doesn't. Like, he's going to get people more involved. He's great in the pick and roll. So maybe shifting your offense that way. But if it doesn't work and you lose, let's say, in the first round, I mean, is Harden going to want to stay in Cleveland? I don't think he's going to want to. And not even just him. Like, Donovan Mitchell's on a short-term deal right now. Is he going to want to stay long-term in Cleveland? Because that was not his destination that he wanted. He wanted to come to New York. I'm sure he'd want to be other places besides Cleveland. I'm sure Coco Jones want to be other places than Cleveland.
Coco does not want to be in Cleveland. No. I promise you that.
And I mean, I think the one team with the most to lose is the Knicks, just because, yeah, we get knocked for the Mikal Bridges trade. Wasn't great, but it's not like you can just go back in time and take the picks back. So you got to kind of deal with it how it is. This team is good enough to make a run. Like, Jalen Brunson, we've got Cat, who's been playing really great after the All-Star break. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, they struggle with teams that get physical, though, like the Pistons, or even I'd say the Hornets are a dark horse team to kind of make a run like that Heat team did when they were like the 8th seed and made the finals. So, like, it's not going to be easy. Like, we thought it would when Halliburton tore his Achilles and Tatum tore his Achilles. Like, people just automatically assume that the Knicks would be just running through the East, but it doesn't work like that. Like, the season's long. There was a point during the middle portion where I'm like, damn, this is going to get blown up pretty quickly, where it was not good basketball. But I think they found like a happy medium with Mike Brown. I still think once we get Deuce back, things will be a lot different. Like, Deuce is, I've always said, he's like, he might be the third most important player on that team. Like, he's really good. Like, a small guard who plays defense. That contract is unmatched. It's pennies from what he deserves.
But that, like, production,
yeah, for that production. So once we get him back and get him in the rotation, this team can go on a run. They can make a finals run.
They can. Hey. Between those two teams, I think the Knicks are the ones that are more likely to go through big changes this summer, by the way. The Cavs are used to being at the bottom of the barrel, and they don't want to go back. You're trying to talk about Lord LeBron back there and all that stuff. They think James Harden is part of their long-term answer. I think anybody with 2 brain cells knows that he's not, but they think that. And it's only because they're convincing themselves of that because they don't want to go back to the bottom of the barrel and being a bad team in the lottery again. They're finally at a place where they're respectable without LeBron James being there, without him being the center of it. They want to see what that can look like moving forward without LeBron James and being good. And they're trying to keep Donovan Mitchell there at all costs, which it's inevitable. He's not going to stay there forever. Let's be honest, okay? Like, that's not going to happen. But I think the Knicks, the biggest thing that'll change with them if they don't succeed and get to the conference finals at the very least, and they want to get to the finals, but if they don't get to the conference finals at the very least, they're going to trade Mikal Bridges. They're going to try to get rid of him. I think that's the biggest domino to fall, and they'll start talking about Cat. Like, they may not trade him, but you'll hear buzz about Cat's name being out there, right? That's the two things I think are most likely to happen.
Hey, so you mentioned the Hornets, right? So between 5 and 8, 5 and 9, actually, there is a 2 game difference. So the Toronto Raptors are 5, the Atlanta Hawks are 6. Those two teams right there alone is a game and a half difference. At 7th is the 76ers. They're a game behind. They're a half a game behind that 6 seed. The Charlotte Hornets is 2.5 games behind for that 6 seed. And the Orlando Magic are 2.5 games behind. The Heat are 3.5 games behind for that seed right there. Do we see the Charlotte Hornets maybe possibly getting up to that 6 seed with they're on a 5 game winning streak, 7-3 over their last 10. The Atlanta Hawks just lost recently. The Raptors have been playing 500 balls of late. They're 5-5 over their last 10.
Yeah, they could. I mean, they go on a run. I know there's like 8 or 9 games left, so they could run the table. Like, this team is really good. Like, having watched them for the first time really against the Knicks the other night, I'm like, they've got shooting everywhere. And like Khan, I think at this point is going to be the rookie of the year. The production is just too impactful. Like, you throw him on this team. What's the difference between last year and this year? They've got Con Knipple, who's doing things that I don't know if we expected him to do it this quickly, but like
At this level,
but he's leading the league in 3-pointers, which I mean, sure, Steph is out, but like still as a rookie, leading the league in 3-point shooting. And this team is fun to watch. So I hope they get the 6 seed. It would be a fun matchup if they play us in the first round.
They're right. Knicks third. Right
yeah, Knicks are third right now.
So that could be an interesting series.
I don't think you want to do.
Hey,
I don't think you want to do that. I don't think that's a team anybody wants to see in the first round. That team is incredible. It's like it kind of reminds me of what happened with the Nets years ago. I get with the D'Lo year, but it's not the same because the Nets were not nearly that talented, right? The Nets were doing it just purely off vibes and great coaching. But this is a combination of great coaching and great players. Like Brandon Miller is an incredible player, and has been incredible since he's gotten to the NBA quietly. But obviously, because he's playing in Charlotte, no one cares, right? No one gives a damn.
Some injuries,
exactly. And then you have LaMelo, who people were talking down on as if he can't contribute to winning. You started hearing all the nonsense from the writers and from the Windhorse of the world. How he's an unserious basketball player. When anybody who's watched that kid play his whole life understands, like, Melo does things on the floor you cannot teach. And so I always knew, like, there was never a world where I was gonna be like, that kid, it can't be on a winning team. That kid can't be an all-star in the NBA or a perennial all-star. The shooting touch he has, I think he has the best touch in the NBA. I've never seen any touch. I've never seen a player with better touch. People talk about Jokic's touch around the rim. I think it rivals it. Like, that's how special it is. Like, the floaters, the off-balance shots, the pullback shots, the weird, like, he takes threes like off balance all the time from like 40 feet. It doesn't matter. There's no like footwork he can't shoot out of. There's no predicament he can't shoot out of. Find a way to find a comfortable shot pocket in. He's that special of a player. So for me, like, having him, he's the engine. Like, he's what makes the thing go over there. And then Con Knipple obviously being damn near an all-star level player immediately is surprising. But him being good is not surprising. I mean, in college, if you watch them, they don't make guards like that anymore, man. 2 feet, the 2 feet, playing off 2 feet, the shooting, the strength, the intelligence. He is such a damn good player. And when he was rising in the draft last year, I had no problem with it. If it had gone as high as 4, as 3, as 2, whatever it would have been justified. He could have gone 1. Right? I mean, Cooper's there, but he could have gone right there. Like, 2 would have been justifiable. Right?
If he went to the Spurs, that would have been
oh my God.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So
like, that's the thing. Yo, the Spurs.
He would have been a better fit for them now than what they were doing.
The Spurs, the one thing that you could say about the Spurs is their Achilles heel that might bite them come playoff time is they lack 3-point shooting. They don't really have a sniper, and they don't get enough threes up. So if it's a game where Wemby is kicking out, and they're not knocking it down, that's when we've seen them typically lose, and it could get ugly very quickly because if Khan was there, bruh,
and
forget
again,
it.
They haven't been there. Like, They haven't been in the moment. The ball's heavier in the postseason. Like the free throws don't feel the same. Like the environment is just different in the postseason. And so people kind of underrate that. Like you act as if that's just like a guarantee. They're gonna walk in and they're gonna curb stomp the rest of the league, and that's not how this game goes. Everyone goes through growing pains. Everyone is gonna fall short before they get
Not
there to the
Wemby.
mountaintop. Yeah, right. But of
Not
course not him,
Wemby.
because he's literally like the way it's like Jesus came back and he's in the form of a Frenchman. And that's how they treat Wembanyama. It's insane. But no, the Charlotte's amazing. I think Charlotte can climb climb into the 6th seed for sure. Obviously they got to a rough start, so that's why we're having this conversation now. But now that they've peaked, I don't think anybody wants to see them in the first round. They are such a good team. A team like Boston's probably well equipped to maybe deal with it. Probably the best equipped in my opinion. But we'll see how they handle the postseason too, right? The things we're saying about the Spurs, they have to deal with that too. But I think they're so young that it may not affect them the way
Play
what I mean?
with that naivety.
They're
like,
naive. They're so naive. Like Melo's naive, and all these guys.
And you talk about confidence.
And Melo's confidence. I
Supreme
mean, it's different.
He not gonna give a darn.
He don't care.
My first playoffs. I
Yeah.
don't care who you are, and it might not even be y'all. Y'all a game and a half back from the Celtics, so y'all might move up.
They might move up
To that 2nd seed, because Tatum being back though is great. Him being back, but if you've watched the last couple of games, he still hasn't figured out the efficiency aspect, which can actually harm them maybe in the playoffs or even in and off the year because he hasn't been efficient since being back. You see the explosiveness isn't there yet. We all knew coming back into it, like, all right, cool, he's played well with him coming back, but Tatum looking like Tatum probably isn't until next year. It's not going to happen until next year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still, I think you're going to still have to rely heavily on Jaylen Brown and the rest of the crew. You mentioned that Brooklyn Nets team. I just want to ask real quick. That Brooklyn Nets team had promise. They look good, but then they end up changing it up. Rightfully so. We've talked about it before ad nauseum.
Mm-hmm.
You have opportunity to get Kyrie and KD. Blow it up. Let's get them in the building.
Now Kyrie blew it up. Sorry, Brett.
Charlotte Hornets, right? They got off to a bad start, dealt with some injuries, things of that nature, right? Looking at the future for them, who should they be trying to add in the offseason, if they should be trying to add anybody? Keep this core and just keep building, kind of like the OKC way, or should they be looking to add another veteran piece, maybe a different big instead of Musa? Maybe you get a more well-known name. Like, what do you think they should do in the offseason? So next year, they're not in the play-in, but they're actually one of the top 6 teams.
They're going to be one of the top 6 teams for sure next year. Maybe without even making any additions, they would be. The Kobe White thing is such a big deal for them.
Great pickup.
I don't.
Is he a free agent after this?
He could be. Maybe if they traded him, maybe that's why. That's part of the logic behind it. I'm not sure. I'm sure Tone will tell us. But for me, it's all the moves for them are on the margins because their core is already in place for the foreseeable future. Brandon Miller, Con Kneppel, LaMelo Ball seems to enjoy living in Charlotte as well when he's not terrorizing the citizens there with driving on the roads. So I think, for that, like with the core they have, it's very rare for a small market team to have a core that you don't think is in danger of leaving and you don't think is in danger of wanting to get up out of there. So for me, it's like everything's on the exterior. If you can get a couple vets in the building that can shoot the basketball at a high clip and want to go play there for basically no state tax down in North Carolina and Charlotte, they don't pay much to live down there. Cost of living is pretty great. I think you can probably attract some guys to go play with LaMelo Ball, who's a great passer, and Con Kneppel, who's he's going to get better and better. He's been a professional his whole life. That's the kind of player Con is. He's been a pro since he was in high school. So this is not he's been ready for this since he was a freshman in high school. Like just getting he's been building to this point. So I think they have what it takes. And Brandon Miller is one of the most talented players people don't talk about, right? So I think for them, everything's on the exterior. If you can add another big in there, that'd be great as well. But it's not going to take too much to get them to a point where they're constantly top 4 seed, top 5 seed. The thing is, can you get to over the hump and get to where Boston is, New York is? Can you get to there? You can. You have enough talent, but it's like, what takes you to that point? I think for them, it's going to be about the type of role player they get. Obviously, more 3-and-D specialists is probably ideal, right? And I think they do a great job shooting the ball now. They're not far, man. I just think maybe if you add rebounding and toughness to the mix, more rebounding and toughness to the mix of that team, they're going to be hell to deal with for everybody for the next 5, 6, 7 years, because all those guys are babies. They're so young, the core. So it's about rebounding and toughness, I think, for them. I think their 3-point shooting is fine. and if they can keep Kobe White, which I think they'll be able to do, if Kobe White accepts that role of being the sixth man, you're cooking with gas.
I think he should accept it. His contract is over after this season.
Yep.
But with how he's playing, we've seen it happen before. Players then decide, you know what, my market right now is probably higher than it's ever been, especially being that it wasn't as high in Chicago. He was putting up stats dang near every night with the Bulls, but the Bulls are not having a season and haven't had a season like the Hornets have had.
Yep.
So you're able to put up these numbers in a winning situation, impact winning. He might, I hope he doesn't, because I love to see him stay in Charlotte and they keep building this thing out. But that might be his window where he's like, all right, let me go somewhere else, get a big bag. He might stay in that 6-man role anyway. I don't know if he's best as a starter in the league right now, but it might be a team that say, you know what, come be a 6-man for us and we're going to give you additional boom, 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 whatever money.
Yeah.
On the Western side, right, what teams come to mind in the loaded West? What teams come to mind as their team / coaches? It might look differently if they don't have a certain playoff run.
I don't want to say Minnesota because, I mean, they could blow it up with Randall and Gobert, but
that should happen.
But what does that do for Ant? Like, if you're blowing it up, that's almost signaling that this team is not good enough. Then Ant is just wasting his years over there, which, I mean, he is. But, like, as a team that wants to keep their superstar, like they should have done with KG, once you blow it up, the clock is already ticking.
Is it finals or bust for Minnesota this year?
I mean,
the West is stronger than it was the last couple of years, but
I don't think they believe in that room and in that office that they're going to make a championship run with Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle as their two of their better players on the roster. That's what I'll say right now, definitively. I don't think that they believe that, and so because I think there's like this resignation there, to be quite honest with you, that they are what they are. They're a good team. They can probably get to the second round. Maybe they get hot, have a good run as well. But I think the clock, it's kind of inevitable. I think the clock has been ticking for them, and their history's going to repeat itself. Like, they didn't get off KG early enough. KG didn't get out of there early enough. I think with this, I think Ant is a different personality. I think Ant is the kind of guy that will have no problem asking to leave Minnesota if this continues. Because I don't really know how you rebuild this thing anyways through trade. Like, what are you going to get for Rudy Gobert at this point? The book is out. No one takes him seriously.
Right.
And Julius Randle, like, again, there's an opportunity for him to reinvent himself playing in Minnesota after his time in New York, where he played good basketball on the surface. But if you understand basketball at a high level, you know that was never going to win your championship the way he plays. It wasn't sustainable. The tunnel vision when he drives the basketball, just the little things, the turnovers, right, in inopportune times. The shot selection in general, right? The basketball IQ is not where it needs to be for a guy who's going to compete for a championship. And so that hasn't changed in Minnesota. That hasn't changed. It's still the same. He had a great first year shooting the ball. He's capable of play. He's a great offensive player. A lot of these guys in the NBA are great offensive players. That's not the bar we're talking about winning championships. It's about how smart you are. How can you defend? Can you defend multiple positions? Or do you play with high effort all the time? Are you diving on loose balls? You give a second opportunities? Do you get off the basketball early in possessions and create hockey assist opportunity, things like that? You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't do any of that. None of that. That's not who he is. The book is out. So I think for them, like, if you get off him, what are you getting in return? You're limited. Jaden McDaniels, you're not trading that kid.
Definitely not.
That's your best trade piece.
That's an untouchable right there.
Yeah.
Do not call my phone.
You see what I'm saying? So, but then you're running it's a hamster wheel. You're gonna run the same core back. What are you gonna do?
Hey, Houston's in the same boat. That was the next team that I was gonna say. Because look, obvious, KD, they've talked about it in the past, maybe teaming up or having a 1-2 of Ant and KD, which that would be interesting to watch. But I feel like it could work if you trade maybe a Rudy, because I don't think Sengun can be a true center where if you want to be a defensive-minded team, he doesn't play defense. Like, you could see a whole 5-minute highlight tape of that overtime game the other night where he's just lost out there. So, the KD experiment didn't work in Houston.
Let's not bury the lead, though. Let's not bury the lead with that. We know it didn't work.
We know why it didn't work.
Kevin Durant blew it up.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant went down there and pulled the bombs over Baghdad and blew up the whole situation down there in Houston with the stupid burner situation. And he's always had a problem with his Twitter fingers, right? And he never denied that it was him. Like he just stopped tweeting. And then, you know what I mean? As if people were going to forget that it happened, right? And then you're watching the team play, and it's just this awful chemistry where Sengun goes down. They come down from 13 down against the Timberwolves in regulation, and Sengun gets a block where he damn near breaks his face and all that stuff.
And nobody dapped him up.
No one dapped him up. No one said anything, right? It was just awkward. That team is broken.
Mm-hmm.
That team is broken. KD is at the center of it, not just with the off the court stuff and what he did with the burner, but also on the floor, not being able to handle double teams, which we've been talking about since he's been in Brooklyn, but no one wanted to listen. No one, like people, when I said it on the podcast, I get all these comments about how I'm an idiot and I just hating on Kevin Durant. You don't think I wanted Kevin Durant to be successful in Brooklyn? You don't think I wanted him to be able to handle a double team? You don't think I wanted him to have success here? Like, that's crazy. I watched him to be able, like against Boston, in that series against Boston, not be able to handle simple double teams and make simple reads and make hockey passes. Hockey assists. He can't do it. He can't make the pass to then what will get you the assist later on. He is incapable of it. So that's why, like, the bucket getter mantra and all that stuff, I don't really buy it. Like, it's cool you can score, and you want to say the greatest scorer of all time because he's got the biggest bag or whatever. You could say that. You can't handle a double team, which means you are limited. And by the way, he won in Golden State because they didn't double him. They couldn't double him there. Like, and that's why he went there. He knew that, right? But he had this gigantic flaw in his game for all these years that was unaddressed. And here we are, his ripe age of what? What is he, 36, 37 years old? And you can't handle a double team. And now your team's being penalized for it. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I think it goes into, anyway, this was his thought process of choosing Houston, right? The Phoenix Suns said, we're going to trade you. And they worked with you where you wanted to go. And you chose Houston. This is as much as on KD. We said it when it happened. Even if Fred VanVleet was healthy.
Right, what are they?
They're not a championship team. And at that age where you complained, reason why you went to Golden State for the first reason anyway, because you wanted to play the game the right way. I felt choosing Houston was going back to your OKC days. You was going to have to carry a lot of the offensive load for that team. Fourth quarters, unlike the Lakers, clutch time minutes, Lakers are like 22-7 or something like that. Houston is on the complete other side. That's typically where they lose their games. If it isn't a blowout and it happens to be close, teams know now, all right, we got a chance though, because especially the Lakers gave the game plan for the rest of the league, which they should have been doing all year, and they may not even be as productive as they are right now. Go send a double and please, Amen, beat us. Please, Sengun, beat us.
Amen's a real problem. Amen came back this summer. I don't know what the hell he was doing all summer. He's the same exact player. And that, to me, is inexcusable. And I think they're coming up on decision-making time for him with this contract. It's
for the extension, I think.
An extension anyways, the rookie max thing.
It was like, what, 5 years, 2 something? That's crazy.
They're probably going to give it to him, too. What do you do?
You kind of have to. I mean, you're pigeonholed a little bit.
Yeah, I don't even know if there's a world where you could argue, and look, Jalen Green is not a winning basketball player, but he's a better offensive player.
He actually wouldn't. I think, y'all let me know if I'm off here. I think keeping Jalen Green for this team specifically would have been a better fit because their biggest issue is a consistent, and I'm not saying he's consistent, but another actual viable threat offensively that could create his own shot. Sengun obviously is an offensive threat, but Sengun is not being able to get it on his own. And they trying to make him, they're trying to make him Jokic, but he's not.
They don't have a point guard.
He's not on that playmaking level as a Jokic or the IQ. He doesn't make the right reads all the time. I think keeping Jalen Green actually would have been beneficial for this specific team. Maybe you move off of him after the season, but they have struggled tremendously. Close games, any team, any coach with any sense, let's just go double Kevin Durant and one of you 4 other jokers beat us.
Yeah.
Tari Eason is shooting, what is he, over one or two for the last 2-28 or something like that.
He's a bad basketball player. Okay, I watched him. I was
Be
watching.
careful, Mama Easton gonna get you.
She thinks he's bad too. She was trying to ask for free lessons from
Lethal Shooter.
I always texted the group chat watching them play against the Lakers in that back-to-back or whatever it was when they played them. And I said, like, literally nothing good happens when Ty Simpson touches the basketball. Like, okay, you're not making shots. Like, are you going to drive and get a paint touch and like make a good pass or something? Like, are you going to rebound the ball at a high clip? He doesn't do anything up there. They've missed on some picks in Houston. And it pains me because I have a soft spot in my heart for Houston. You know how much I love. I have second residency out there and everything. So I was
just going up when Greg go out there.
Deshaun Tate hasn't been good either.
Well, I forgot he was on the team. The Ohio State kid. I forgot.
I also feel like they lost like any sense of accountability when they traded Dillon Brooks. Like once you trade Dillon Brooks and you're bringing over a KD who it's always been you instead of like what can I do to make the team better or like any toughness. Like they lost the toughness when you trade a Dillon Brooks because Dillon Brooks is willing to ruffle feathers. Like what is KD doing? If he's ruffling feathers, it's on Twitter. It's not to anybody's face. So this was a team, I think they were the 2 seed. What was that, last year? Mm-hmm. With that team, even though they were flawed and Jalen Green shouldn't be like the number one go-to guy, but
I don't think KD was the answer.
KD wasn't the answer. It was a reaction to we can't run it back with this team.
Well,
they didn't want to run it back with that team, and they saw an opening with a guy. Kevin Durant is more name than game now.
Okay, so wait, hold on. That's what I want to talk about. I want to take this conversation in a place where it's going to piss people off because they're so sensitive. Snowflakes. What? How does this run here in Houston? How does the failure in Houston affect this guy's legacy?
I feel like we're going to do this every time he goes somewhere else.
Because at some point it has to. Because you flamed out in Brooklyn.
Well, every flame out affects his legacy because
OKC,
the only time he succeeded was early on with OKC when you had a great Russell Westbrook, you had Harden, it was a young team. They didn't know what they had. And then you left that for an already established Golden State team.
See, that doesn't count. I'm sorry.
No, that's what I'm saying. That part of your career, I don't want to say it doesn't count. You can say like, hey, I got my rings, but like you didn't have to go through any. You ran from the, I guess.
He didn't have the struggle that most superstars, since we put him in that category, most superstars have had to deal with.
But when he has had
Bron did it, but like it's different.
But when he's had to deal with those struggles, right? And Bron is the context of that. We could talk about that and compare. People love doing that. But, and maybe that's a good conversation to have because people, they eat that stuff up. But the anytime KD's had to deal with those struggles that superstars had to deal with, whether it was from Brooklyn, now Houston, right, in Phoenix, what happened? Right. He's accomplished literally nothing in those places. It's all gone to hell. Every time he goes to these places, it goes terribly, and he has to take some of the blame for that. And if we're holding him accountable to like a Hall of Fame standard, which is he's a clear Hall of Famer, then at some point it has to affect your legacy, and we can't even be having. You are not a top 10 player all time.
I think it all started in that OKC Golden State series where they lost when they were up 3-1, where I would say he's just as much at fault for why they lost that series.
Of course.
So I want to speak on this because I think this is the issue. Going back to that series, going back to his OKC days, I think the biggest flaw you can say that Kevin Durant has, more than getting out of the double teams, more than anything like that, when we talk about in the same conversation, because they beat the Cavs and it was he's better than LeBron and LeBron can't hang with him conversations.
Idiots.
The difference between him, LeBron, Kobe, MJ, Bird, Magic, even we can say Steph, SGA, maybe not SGA, but Steph. When we talk about some of these greats, and maybe not Steph because Draymond takes care of this, but I think his biggest flaw is the leadership aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He should have been the one, and maybe you don't want to have the conflict or whatever, but he should have been the one, especially after that 3-1 series, instead of ducking and going to Golden State, have that conversation with Rush like, yo, we have to figure out the best way to win this game and for us both to coexist and to be able to share with him honestly, Russ, I am 6'10", 6'11".
They could have beaten that team.
But
Let
of
me
course.
close out the game. And that goes to, if you think about it, outside of that Warriors season, closing out games has been an issue for KD's entire career.
Yeah.
They couldn't close out games with that series. They couldn't handle business when they got to the finals. Brooklyn, same type of situation.
I was willing to give him a pass for Russell Westbrook. Because y'all know how I feel about Russell Westbrook. Y'all know how I feel about him. It's not about how great he is. It's not about, it's never his fault. Russell Westbrook is the kind of guy who has people around him who tell him it's never his fault. I'm telling you, his crap doesn't stink. That's the kind of guy where Russell Westbrook, that's who Russ is. I'm telling you.
I mean, he made a commercial. I'll do what I want. So.
Yeah, there you go. Go do what you want. Now you're in Sacramento doing what you want, right? That's what I'm trying to tell. I'm trying to tell you, like with him, I'm willing to give him. I gave him a pass on that. I was cool. I was cool that it didn't work out and that he wanted to move on. Obviously, where you went was where I had a problem with you at that point. It was unprecedented.
My problem with that really was I feel they could have made it work if he was able to be that leader, and that's sometimes the toughest thing to do because we see it with Bron. It's like you're gonna get hate for that sometimes. Le GM, le coach. Hey, somebody has to speak up and say sometimes the hard thing.
Yeah.
Russ, I need you when it gets to that close time. I need the rock more as my point guard. Give me the rock more. I'm 6'11". Couldn't nobody on that Golden State Warriors team when we was up 3-1 could have been jacking with.
Has anybody had success having that conversation with Russ in his entire career?
That's above my pay grade.
No. The answer is no. No one's had success telling Russ, yo, we don't need you to jump up 15 feet in the air and throw that straight ass shot at the back of the iron over and over again. When he stopped making that short pull up jump shot, his whole career changed.
I don't know what happened. That mini was
2K
automatic,
but it was never
and
like
going full speed too.
If we're gonna be I'm gonna be a basketball nerd. It was never sustainable, in my opinion. You're not like when you're taught to shoot. It's a one motion shot. He jumps up. He's firing that thing. Once he gets to the apex of his jump, he's firing that thing at the 100. He only ever plays 100 miles an hour. There's no change in speed with him.
That's right? That's why it was so unguardable. OKC days, he's running at you full speed.
And then
you don't
boom,
know.
Comes up. And it's so sudden.
You don't know if he's actually going to the lane, but he could literally all of a sudden stop on the dime
and lift.
And maybe it's the injury. Maybe it was the injury that caused that because he was able to stop on the dime. Once you have a knee injury like that, I haven't had that, but I don't know if you can do that.
He's been in open ones now. He's actually playing a little bit better now, funny enough, in obscurity.
In a different role.
In obscurity, where it don't matter. We got the ball light in Sacramento. They're not playing for nothing. The beam, they're not lighting the beam very often. So you gotta remember that aspect of it. You can't say one thing without saying the other. That's what I'm saying. But I'm just telling you, like, no one's had success having that conversation with Russ in his entire career. Everywhere he goes, it's static. It's always static with somebody. It's static with LeBron. It's LeBron's fault. When Houston, him and James, they were boys, I thought. It didn't work out over there, right? Where else has he been with a chance to win? The Clippers. I thought he actually accepted a role and tried there, so I'm not going to go be too hard on him.
But then the Lakers was
the Lakers. That honestly, bro, like that is a disgusting stain. That is like a diaper stain on your career. What happened with the Lakers? And people act like it just didn't happen. They don't want to talk about it. They blame everybody else. I don't know. Like if I go to the gym, I start throwing shit off I start throwing the ball off the side of the backboard. I'm not going to say Tone did that. It's not Tone's fault. Tone didn't yell at me and make me uncomfortable and make me throw the ball off the side of the backboard. That's not what happened. That's my fault. And he was doing it over and over again. He stayed finding the side of the rim, the side of the backboard, but it was everybody's fault. Missing dunks, missing layups. I don't know what it was. I think the lights were too bright. In LA, it's different in LA. At that stage of your career.
He's from that area, and I think
Inglewood, is that where he's from?
It's also hard to accept a different role.
And I think it's mental more now with him. Like you said, being in Sacramento, I think it's been refreshing for him because everywhere since he played with the Wizards, and that was I think they ended up being like 40 and 42 that year.
That was
solid year.
But he also let him do whatever he wanted over there.
Right.
I think for him now, when we talk about specifically the missed open shots and all that, I think it's mental more so for him. He's let it be known, him and his wife let it be known, like, we hear everything that's being said. Things disrespectful. Y'all calling me Westbrook. That's not my name. So I think even though he still exudes ultimate confidence. I think that definitely
That's
he's in his
actually
own head.
problem. There's no self-awareness. There's no reason why Russell Westbrook should be going 4 for 21. That should have stopped when you were in Washington, to be quite honest. I shouldn't have seen no 4 for 21 nights. You should have been moving that thing around, moving the pill. Get off the ball a little bit more, right? Cut up to the basket, get easier baskets. Stop taking these crazy, stop trying to get to your little pull-up jump shot. You have not been making that shot. You got to fine-tune it. You got to work on it. That's fine. But for us to win, you got to do different stuff. And I just feel like there's an unwillingness to do that stuff because people around him go, no, you're still him. You're still that dude. And you're not. But you haven't been for a long time. So I get moral stories. I give Kevin Durant a pass for that. I'm like, Katie,
most of these
fine.
former stars have guys like that telling them, like, hey, you're still him. Like, I'm sure PG still has his people that tell him, like, yo, you can be the guy on this team.
Jackie Long?
I think with Paul George is a lot. Paul George is a much more complicated conversation than
That's a whole separate.
You know what I'm
episode.
saying? Like that's
PG,
a lot more complicated of a conversation to get into.
especially with the recent suspension.
He's more skilled though, so his game was always going to age better than Russell Westbrook's. But I'm just saying, like in the scope of like,
and he impacts the game in way PG.
Yeah.
Because he came into the league as a defender.
Oh no, PG was
athletic defender. That was it.
PG was special.
And that series against Miami, that's where we saw like, oh shoot,
there's just something missing. As special of a player as Paul George is,
bro. That series against Miami, he dunks on Bron. We all thinking, the whole basketball world was thinking, next year coming.
This is the next guy.
It's going to be crazy, and it just
you want to coordinate somebody. That's the time you coordinate them, not
in the
when,
playoffs.
Not when he has Silverback on his breath and he just got here.
A
and
playoff run.
Yeah, he had a
playoff
run,
big moment.
Head to head with the guy who was the dude. He went head to head with LeBron James. He went head to head with him,
and he just didn't have enough help to beat the Heat.
Yeah, that's different. But don't coordinate some Frenchman and he just got here. I don't want to have that conversation. That's ridiculous. That's back when the league was great. Like we can have that conversation. That's back when the league was great. That's fine, but it's different now.
But it just to that again though. It's again, like you said, I think the bigger picture of the bottom line of if we can get the global scale, because still right now to this day, the NFL, by all the metrics, is the more popular league. The NFL, Roger Goodell already came out and said 2 years ago, we're not competing with the NBA, MLB. That's not our competitors. We're competing with Fortune 500 companies. We're competing with Netflix. We're competing with. That's who we're competing with.
Soccer, maybe the Euro League, like the biggest ones around the world. Maybe they're competing with that.
Yeah, like they're not. Yeah. He literally said NBA, MLB. We're not looking at them.
You can't even dominate domestically. That's what I'm trying to say. I think the NBA has given up on trying to dominate domestic.
They gave up. Yeah, it's NFL. NFL domestically. Yeah, I think they've definitely waved the white flag. Like, we're not gonna be able to compete with the NFL.
But that is how Wembanyama's hype train has been born, because they're like, well, you know what? Like, he's our key. He's the key to what we want to do. We want to dominate on a global standpoint. So he's gonna help us do that. So we don't care if he's not deserving the MVP. Yo, my man, make him the number one on the MVP ladder. He asked for it. Let's push this thing. Like, let's do this. All right, like let's try to take advantage of this moment right now. All right, that's cool. You don't care about your domestic fan base. That's fine. Whatever, bro. It is what it is. You'll only have the guys who love basketball enough to watching it. Because kids don't watch basketball. Kids do not. And
highlights.
That's the
Adam
problem.
Silver wasn't wrong.
Yeah. Bro,
it's a highlight league. Adam Silver was
kids
not
don't
wrong.
Watch basketball, bro.
Hey, and you talking about watching basketball and just watching sports in general to actually know what you're talking about, to know who is the best players and things of that nature. One that we can surmise from outside looking in. We're not with this man every day. Dan Orlovsky watches film, and he watched the film and watched the tape and believed that Ty Simpson has the skill set to be better and also have a better career than Mendoza.
Oh, that's a nice pivot. Damn.
Did you, from what?
I still have Kevin Durant in my head.
I know y'all both way more than me actually have, especially your Jets has a high pick. You last year were looking for a quarterback as well.
No.
Last year, before y'all got dark.
I have to make it clear, I'm no longer looking for a quarterback.
Have watched the tape of these quarterbacks, the Mendozas, the Darts, the Ty Simpsons. Even we talked about Taylor Green. We're talking about Arch Manning coming up.
It's a short conversation.
Yeah, we already know that.
That's a short conversation. conversation.
Do you think Dan Orlovsky was on to something here, that Ty Simpson has the skill set to actually be better than Mendoza?
I don't think he's like off with how he's talking about him. I do think it's coming from an interesting place since they both have the same agency.
I don't
and all
like
that.
that people
So,
are making that. I don't know.
I mean, all of a sudden, we've had tape on him for months. All of a sudden, now that we're 25 days out from the draft, now all of a sudden, wait a second.
But he
Did you see this throw, this play? Like, it's an interesting turn of events. All of a sudden, we've already kind of coronated Mendoza as the number one pick. I don't think that's going to change. But now, I also think the NFL draft process is way too long because the season ends in February, and we've got like two months before there's so much to talk about. So this is one of those things where I think there's just too much time between the season ending and the NFL draft, and it would be better for the league if they did it like the NBA and kind of
it was more immediate, like it's like a month, I think, right?
Yeah. Or give it like a month. Like do the draft in March. This is too long. But Ty Simpson's a talented quarterback. The starts thing, I do think is a real stat that he's only had 15 starts in his career. And I mean, you don't want to say every quarterback's the same, but you look at all the quarterbacks that had that amount of starts, the success level isn't that great. Like the last one that came out, Anthony Richardson, I think he's looking for his new team now. So I don't know. As a Jets fan, we're looking at all these guys. I mean, Mendoza's going to be out of reach once again, but Ty Simpson, I wouldn't take him before the second round. I do think there's talent there, and the processing is better than Mendoza. Like Mendoza basically had the greatest constructed team for him, and they didn't really have to force him to throw it 40 times. Some games he threw it like 15 times. Like that Indiana team was amazing. He didn't struggle. But if you throw Mendoza on that Alabama team, I don't think he's coming out in this draft. So it's definitely a combo that Orlovsky has created, and they've been having it for months. But I don't think the tiers are that off between Mendoza and Ty Simpson. Like I think, sure, Mendoza's got more starts. He was the Heisman. But Ty Simpson, that team was terrible that he had at Alabama. Up until like the end of October, he was the guy we were talking about for the number one pick because he was playing great. He plays in the SEC where you're playing NFL talent every Saturday. And then what went wrong? The offensive line wasn't that great. No run game. If you don't have a run game, how are you supposed to get them to kind of see something different if you're throwing the ball that often? And he dealt with some injuries. So I want to see where he goes. It also ends up wherever he goes determines where he'll be successful. Like if he goes to the Jets, it's not a good pick because we've got 3 first-rounders next year. He could be almost one and done where we're looking for our next guy next year, and now he's relegated to a backup role. So Cardinals are a team that could look at him. Steelers could look at him.
He's not
like
falling out the first round because you can name 3 or 4 teams that could use a quarterback right now and that could take him. The Rams could take him.
It's too risky though.
The Rams might take him.
The starts thing is too risky.
If the Rams gets to sit behind Stafford, then you kind of negate that. You know what I'm saying? Like he's gonna go in the first round. I don't really doubt that. I just think the reason why we're having this conversation is important to note is because Mendoza does not handle pressure the best way. He's not a creator. When things break down, he's not like making guys miss, and throwing off platform. That is not really who he is. He is a guy, a standstill, old school, in the pocket, read your defense, 1, 2, 3, Pat, get the ball out quick, right? If I know what I'm looking at, I can tear you apart. If I don't, and I have to make someone miss, and if I get up the middle pressure or something, I don't know if I'm not shifty laterally to make guys miss and then make a great throw, which is what all these guys look for that now. So that's where this conversation is kind of starting, is that weakness, because it's a clear weakness in this game. There's a lot to love, but that's a weakness. And the thing with the Orlovsky is like, I think he deserves a little more credit than he's getting with this conversation, because last year he was big upping Dart at the same point in the process, and he was right. He was big upping Dart at that same point, like around that to a month away from the draft standpoint. He started talking about Dart and how good he is and how people are kind of sleeping on him. He's gonna go higher than everyone.
I was telling you about Dart way back.
You were, and I didn't watch no Ole Miss football. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying? The racism permeated through the screen. I couldn't do it. So I couldn't do it. But nah, man, I mean, like, that's my point, though. Like, he deserves a little more credit than people give him. Like, you can't be talking about, oh, yeah, like, they have the same agency, and that's why. What do you mean? Like, I don't know, man. I just think that he's earned himself a little credibility with some of the things he's been right about with the quarterback space and evaluating quarterbacks. But also, like I said, there's a need for quarterbacks in this draft. Obviously, every year there's a need for quarterbacks. And when you look at Ty Simpson's game, like, he played under more adverse circumstances than Mendoza did, and did a really good job. So now people are trying to figure out the why. And when you watch it and you dig into the tape, you see that he can make high-level throws. You see that he's got some mobility to him. He's got a little bit more of that lateral quickness. He's not, like, special in that regard. He doesn't have a crazy arm. I don't think he's a special prospect, but I can see why the guys like him. I can see that, too. And a lot of this is, you know, and when we get to this point in the year, it's a lot of talking yourself into quarterback. That's a lot of what happens. Penix, people talk themselves into him. He goes at 10.
It's also because this is not like the strongest QB class.
Exactly.
So like there's they have to have something to talk about outside of Mendoza's going to the Raiders. Then what?
I talk about we watch people talk themselves into Sam Bradford. All right, they're going to talk themselves into just about anything these days.
Well, largely,
Sam Bradford
has
catching strays in 2026.
he fed families, man, bringing up this conversation. So I think he was right in there. And like you talking about, is a need, because it's such a long space in between. So you're going to have conversations like this, because what else you going to put on the rundown if y'all want to talk about the NFL?
Right.
You have these conversations, and some would say when you talk about that long span, you could say the same thing when you talk about the time span. Baseball has a very long time span, 162 games. It's been discussions before the season started that there is a need for a salary cap. Do you think that or something else would be the end of the year conversation? Let's say the Dodgers win their third straight World Series. What would that mean for the MLB?
It wouldn't be good. I mean, I know they hated the Yankees when they were winning in the 90s. So I know how people feel about the Dodgers right now and how stacked they are. And the conversation on deferred money, real interesting, because like that's how they're able to sign all these guys.
Yeah,
they just defer money to 10 years down the line, and then the real money that you see it's not that much. So that's how you can keep Ohtani. You can sign a Yamamoto. You can bring over any Japanese pitcher you want and build out a roster that way. Like, this is an all-star team. So if they win again, which of course they should be the favorites, there has to be a conversation on a salary cap, even though I don't think it's a good conversation. Like, the players aren't going to agree to that, just because then that limits their earning potential. And it's different than like the NBA or the NFL, where, yeah, you might have 4 years and then you're a free agent, where baseball, you're in the minor leagues for 3 years. Then once you get to the MLB, they manipulate it, how they'll call you up a month later, even though you're ready to play, a month later, so they get an extra year of service before they have to actually think about paying you. So you only really get one shot at free agency. So now you're telling me my one shot, I'm not going to get a number that, I mean, $300 million is a lot of money. But like Ohtani got damn near $1 billion. Soto got like $800 million. If they do this salary cap, you're not going to see those contracts anymore, because people are going to have to be smart with their money. And yeah, it's going to just hurt the players in general. So
yeah, the players, if I'm a player, go ahead, keep winning. I want to get as much. Go ahead, Dodgers, y'all win 6 straight. Don't mess with my with my earning potential.
Oh yeah.
So I think that I agree with you right there. The players aren't going to be with it, and I don't think it'll get through the process to be a salary cap, but the conversation is definitely going to be heightened if they win. Yeah. Greg, I want to ask you this, right? Who are the main contenders their biggest threat from the Dodgers actually repeating?
I mean, we always have this conversation and the Dodgers are on top, but I mean, no, I mean in the NL, I think the Mets are legitimately a contender, obviously. Not just because they're my Mets, but very much because they're actually a very good baseball
My
team.
Mets.
They're a very good baseball team. Right? I think the Phillies are always in the mix. They're always dangerous. They're always lurking around the corner and a good baseball team. I'll be interested to see what the Brewers do. Some of these small market teams that are pesky like that. They're talented. I'll be interested what they do too. I'm not sure I don't miss any obvious ones in the NL. AL, I think it kind of tells itself. I think I don't know. I'm interested to see what the Mariners do this year too, as well. Obviously, the Yankees are always in the mix. Like it's not, you can't discount them, right? They're in the mix. They're always in the postseason and make a run. It's been close but no cigar lately. But they've been there. They've been there. They're in the room. And that's a small list of contenders. Small list. There's more that I'm probably not giving them credit for, right? As well as the season gets started, but I do think that there's a precedent for a team dominating the sport and there not being a salary cap coming out of it like the Yankees did for all those years. And so I just think that, people maybe might want to pump the brakes on the salary cap conversations because of that fact that there is precedent for teams being dominant in the sport, spending more money than everybody else and reaping the benefit as well. I think the Dodgers are like the biggest TV deal of any team, maybe in sports. So because they do, that gives them more capital to kind of throw around. More money they can throw around. Not to mention, they got Mark Walter over there. So you over here throwing his bread around too. So I think with them it's tough. Like someone's gonna have to take them out. I do think for them it's more like if they're injured, which you're not rooting for, but if they're injured, then they're susceptible. I think if they're not, adding Diaz, would they add the outfielder Tucker? Was it Tucker?
I forgot about that.
They added Tucker, right? They got him. So to get all of that and have the wealth of riches they have at all those skill positions and with the pitching, it's gonna be tough. I know the Asian pitcher they had that was really good last year, the rookie Osaka Rossi. What's his name?
Suzuki, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Roki.
I think to your point,
he's not throwing strikes. He forgot to throw strikes, something like that.
I might be in the bullpen.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing though, where I'm seeing a lot of the conversation where they're making it even more of a thing where the regular season doesn't matter in MLB because with 162 games and that load of a roster, I think without a shadow of a doubt, they are going to make sure by playoff time, which is the only thing that matters for the Dodgers at this point, that they will have a healthy roster. If there's a thought, because we saw it a little bit last year, obviously Ohtani was dealing with some stuff. Hey, you ain't pitching jack squat till we need you. Just keep hitting these home runs, get on base, get these RBIs. I think they're going to have the same approach this year, which is where it's scary, where if they are fully healthy coming to the playoffs, which I think they'll be able to do, it's different than football. 16, 17 games. They're looking to try to get 20 games. That's kind of harder to do. We see a little bit of the load management in NBA. You talk about load man, 162 games. Oh, we can map this out perfectly to make sure that we are healthy come playoff time. We're going to end off with this, right? You tell me what a successful season looks like for the New York Yankees, and you'll tell me what a successful season would look like for the New York Mets.
I think it's the same thing. I mean, the World Series. That's what we've been waiting for since 2009. Because Judge winning MVPs, cool. But like as long as this drought's been, which I mean, in my lifetime, sure, it's the longest drought I've seen. Well, for the Yankees, I'm a Jets and Knicks fan, so I've seen longer droughts. So,
in the desert.
Yeah. The goal every year is to win a World Series. And this team is good enough to get back there. Like, the rotation is going to be unreal. We still don't even have good Garrett Cole back. The lineup's the one that's going to be interesting. So you're not going to have to – you don't want to rely on Judge to kind of carry you. You want some of those other guys to kind of, like, fill in and, play well. And some of those guys had great years last year. playoff time came and they kind of fell on their face. And baseball is it's tougher to succeed in like a playoff setting in baseball than it is like NFL and NBA, just because like you only get an at bat every few innings. And if you strike out, then damn, I got to wait like another hour before I hit again. And then before you know it, you're 0 for 4. And then it's like the narrative is already written for you. You don't get like 20 shots. You don't get 10 targets to succeed. So yeah, playoffs is what matters for the Yankees, as it's always been. Like they got to win the division. The division got tougher. Like the Blue Jays are a really good team, as we saw. The Orioles, yeah, I would have said that too. Yeah. The Orioles, same thing. They got Pete Alonso. They already have a very good young roster. Signed some good pitching. So yeah, it's not going to be easy, but we should be the favorites in the East. We should be the favorites in the American League to make another run. It's just a matter of staying healthy and guys showing up in the playoffs.
I mean, for me, it's World Series too. Right? My expectation is that the Mets make the World Series. Right, like that's the goal. I think we got real close a couple years ago. Right, and I think that this year it's putting everything that happened in the locker room aside. I know all the noise about Lindor and Soto not liking each other very much. Frankly, I don't care. I think it doesn't really matter so long as it's a very individualistic sport in that sense. You guys go up. It ain't like you think about Soto and how much you don't like it when you got that bat in your hand. You got to hit the 90-mile-an-hour fastball coming down the middle of the plate. So I think it'll be fine. I think they're a better baseball team now that they've remade their team. They're going to hit for contact more often. They're going to have tough at-bats. They got a really good rotation. Their bullpen is actually, I think, improved with the kid Myers coming over from the Brewers. And then they got, Devin, who thank you from the Yankees. We got him. We got the kid Weaver who came over as well. Like we got guys now. We got arms.
The Queens Yankees, though.
Yeah, all right. We got guys. We got guys who could be. We have plenty of arms. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that they're in a position where they're not only going to be really competitive, but they're going to build on what they've been doing lately, showing signs of competency, being in the mix as a really serious contender. They're better defensively as a team. I don't got to worry about Alonso not being able to throw the ball from first to home in certain situations and having the yips. That's done. So I think that we're in a better position. I think Soto's going to have a really big year. I'm excited about Soto. I think Soto's comfortable now, and I think he's going to have – he was uncomfortable last year at 43 home runs, I believe. He's comfortable. He might hit 50. He might hit 50 this year. So I'm excited, and I think that's where we're headed. So, no, that's the goal. I think they're at a point where they're a consistently excellent organization. That's where we're headed, and that's fun. Root for.
That's a wrap here for the BME Podcast. Y'all know the vibes here. If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. Benchmark, we out. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.